It's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the Prime Minister holds a meeting with the steering committee. The Minister of Muslim Affairs meet with the religious body at the People's Palace. For the international scene, EU must manage both a health crisis and the worst economic recession in its history. Welcome to our newsroom, the daily press briefing of the Secretary General of the Minister of Health. Dr. Saleh Benoita Turab has in the situations of COVID-19 epidemic is as follows. 199 tests carried out, 54 positive cases, 10 cured cases. In view of trend observed over the last few days, this morning's results differ from the number of positive cases recorded, which is higher than the number of cured patients. Nevertheless, it should be stressed that these are cases detected in a specific and well-defined group. Contamination is probably due to the neglect of the health instructions and in particular of barrier gesture. The Minister of Health will carry out meticulous investigations in order to understand the behavioral dynamics within this group. Contacts will be traced, identified, tested, treated quickly. Today's situation does not call into question of strategy which has so far proved to be effective. However, we need to put even more energy into insisting and sensitizing the populations to barrier gesture. As far as the overall assessment is concerned, 15,056 tests have been carried out. 1,889 cases positive for COVID-19, 834 cases have been confirmed cured, 3 deaths stay at home. Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed has chaired the meetings this morning at the People's Palace, a meeting of the steering committee on fight against COVID-19. This meeting, which brought together several members of the government's scientific committee, provided an opportunity to discuss decontamination plan. The government having decided to deconfine following the drop in the number of cases, doctors and specialists gave their advice on the best ways to accompany this release from the containment, which lasted nearly 2 months. Exchange took place between members of government and members of the scientific committee and how to avoid an upward resurgence of COVID-19 with the confinement by insisting in particular on the situations of screening tests, strict compliance with barrier measures. Within the framework of this regular contact with the religious body, the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf Property, Mumin Hassan Barre, held this morning at the People's Palace consultation meeting with the ulama and imams in the presence of senior officials of the ministry. Emphasis was placed on the forthcoming resumptions of activity and the gradual return to normalcy after more than a month of containment and restrictions to counter the spread of coronavirus. This meeting comes after the meeting ulama at the beginning of this blessed month of Ramadan with the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh. The minister explained the validity of measures taken by the government to avoid the heavy consequences of the epidemic on public health. He then congratulated ulama and imam for their active role in raising collective awareness to manage this global epidemic. He stressed the importance of mobilizing the imams during the period of containment in order to avoid any grouping of people promoting this endemic disease. The minister wished to thank the ulama and imams for their effort to raise awareness in proximity to the residents of mosque. In this regard, he recalled the impact of recitations of Quran in mosque and prior vigil devote to psalmody and multiplication of dua to get out of this pandemic. At the end of this meeting, the minister reiterated his thanks to the ulama and imam, imploring God that the next progressive deconfinement announced has under good auspices for the resumption. The visit by his cabinet senior officials of the Ministry of Social Affairs was welcomed by the prefect of Ali Sabih Musa Adan Migane Mohammed Jama Khayad and a member of Regional Council Khadar Rayale. This visit to Gubeto, which is passed to support the population initiated by the President of the Republic, in particular context of containment decreed to better fight against COVID-19, enabled the Minister of Decentralization to convey to the population the greeting and thoughts of solidarity of the head of state. The Secretary of State for decentralization also recalled the fight against this disease was everyone's business is that the government intends to consolidate the chain of national solidarity in this period of health crisis marked by the cessations of a number of commercial activity and its consequence on the living conditions of the most fragile population. It should be noted that approximately 700 families in two localities, Holhol and Gubeto, benefit from this food aid, which was distributed in cooperation between the Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity and the Secretary of State for Decentralization. The representative of the sub-prefectures of Gubeto expressed their appreciations to the government support. In turn, thanked the two ministerial departments for traveling in the middle of Ramadan in full confinement to hand over this important batch of food ration. The MENFOP has just developed a school learning booklet for all school children in the Republic in the rural areas. On this occasion, this school teaching programs is being broadcast on RTD for benefit of learners, a course considered pragmatic and well adapted in the present period of prolonged confinement. Our people and their health threat due to the spread of daily coronavirus. A school booklet elaborated by a group of distance education advisors under the leadership of the National Education Inspectors at the Center for Information and Productions of National Education, better known as CRIPEN. It should be noted that the pedagogical support professionals from each region of the interior of the country had worked on the given level. This is in order to enable the target learner for better complete the educational program at the different levels that have come to held since the closure of their basic school. In the wake of many awareness activity to counter the spread of COVID-19, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports always ready to accompany all government decisions to deal with this crush. A consultation meeting of leaders of three districts, three municipalities, was held at Hassan Guled Stadium. This meeting, chaired by the head of the department of the CDC, Mr. Ahmed Ali, focused on the establishment of a work plan to actions to be taken next week, namely reminder barrier gestures that are neglected lately, also the implement on the ground the strategy of containment that the state intends to launch soon. Indeed, the young leaders emphasized it on the ways and means to perpetuate and even strengthen prevention measures advocated by health authority, whatever the decision taken by the committee to fight against this pandemic, with the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed at its head. We have learned with sadness and emotions that the death of Nasir Mohammed Salah also occurred yesterday at Peltier Hospital. Born on September 23, 1966, he was known for his extraordinary altruism and his devotion to the service of others. He embodied the values of generosity, humility, a true pillar of his community. He leaves behind him a widow, 5 children, and grandson. May Almighty cover the late lamented one of his infinite mercy to place him among his virtuous servants. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We have learned also the death of Ismail Abdullahi Saad, who passed away last night. Born in 1939, he was the father of 6 children and many grandchildren. He was a pious man and valiant father. May the Almighty welcome him into his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, European Union's both health crisis, the worst economic recession in its history, EU is experiencing a recession of historic proportions in the words of European Commissioner for the Economic Paolo Gentiloni. The European Union has entered the most serious recessions in its history. Greece and Italy will be most seriously affected, with a fall of almost 10%. For others, such as Portugal, Germany, the fall is expected to be below 7%. The speed of the member countries will be able to bounce back will depend on the evolutions of the pandemic. Government will walk a fine line between reviving economic activity and protecting public health. The European Commission has kicked off a global marathon of pledges aid to gather the resources needed to fight the coronavirus. Our first goal is to raise 7.5 billion euro or 8 billion euro. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.